What's up, guys? Orcus here, and today we have another video. Today we have the Texas race that happened a little later or earlier today. I'm making this video a little bit later because I had stuff that I had to do after the race, but now I'm making this video. It is 9 p.m., so sorry if I sound a little bit tired because I also did not get that much sleep last night. But yeah, we got the Texas race, and I mean, it was definitely an interesting race. Let's just say that, because Texas doing Texas things, so much wrecks, so many people getting loose, so much troubles. But all in all, I thought it was a decent race. I mean, besides, all the cautions happening, which, some of them I thought were mildly entertaining and kind of spiced the race up a little bit. The racing, at some points was actually pretty good. Like some of the better racing that I've seen from a non-super speedway track. Like, especially in stage 3. I mean, you had so many, passes happening from people going like from third to first, like fifth to third and second, stuff like that, 10th to 7th. There was a lot of good racing here. And I think the strategies really played a big help in that. There was a lot of different strategy calls. Some people were going 4 tires at stops. Some people were taking 2. That's what someone did towards the end of the race. I'll get to that. And it almost worked. Like, a lot of people were trying different things, and it ended up, working pretty well and making a good product. And I've seen that a lot of people don't like this race. A lot of people don't like this track. And, I do think the track itself should get some changes, should have some modifications to it. But all things considered, I thought this was a pretty decent race. Not like an amazing race, but I thought it was pretty decent, based off of, what we saw the last few weeks. I mean, that stretch with like Martinsville, Darlington, and Bristol, I mean, that was kind of rough. And Talladega was okay, but like, it was a good Talladega race, but it definitely could have been better for a super speedway race. But honestly, this kind of racing in Texas is almost what you expect. If not, this was a little better than I think what you would expect from Texas. So I thought this was a pretty good race. The passing, again, like I said, it was actually pretty good towards the end. Some parts, especially in stage 1, it wasn't that great. But once the strategy and stuff started playing out, I thought it started getting a lot better. So, again, pretty good race. So we can break it down a little bit. So stage 1, I'm pretty sure Austin Cindric won that. And there was a couple, a lot of events happened. I don't even think I can name off all the incidents off the top of my head, but you had the first one. I don't want to try to think about it for too long, but I remember Denny Hamlin, his engine blew up, and there was also Josh Berry who wrecked on himself, Kyle Busch that wrecked on himself. There was a huge crash with Bubba Wallace in it. He got a little air, but the roof flaps worked. Texas isn't, when they were doing that, they weren't going insanely fast. So he wasn't really that close to flipping over, but, his wheels got off the ground. And a lot of other people wrecked off of that. AJ Allmendinger also got a little bit of air, kind of wheelie bumped into the air a little bit. And that basically ended his day. Unfortunately, Chase Briscoe got into an incident. He was able to keep going, though, unlike a lot of other people that got in crash incidents. So that was nice to see, at least, because he actually ended up rebounding a lot. Like, he could have, had like a lower 38th place finish, but instead he was a lot higher up than I would have expected him to finish. So that was nice. And I don't remember if I said the Josh Berry wreck, but yeah, there was a lot of incidents that happened today. And also the Ryan Preece Hocevar one. That one was pretty bad as well. And Ryan Preece had some stuff to say about Hocevar after that, And I don't blame him, to be honest. I like Hocevar. I think he's a cool, like, nice personality. But sometimes the way he drives, it's not a good look. And I can definitely understand Preece's frustration with that. Stage 2, both the stages ended under caution, by the way. Stage 1 ended under caution. I can't remember for which caution. And then stage 2 ended under caution. But then the final stage, and then in the final stage, we went into overtime. We went into an overtime finish. And yeah, honestly, the third stage was probably the best stage, to be honest. That's when the racing really started picking up. And that's when you were seeing all the passes and different strategies playing out. At the end of the race, you had Michael McDowell in the lead with 9 laps to go, and he was 3 laps away, less than 3 laps away from getting that win, but Joey Logano made the pass on him. The Penske cars were definitely faster than Michael McDowell, especially because he was the one on 2 tires, I'm pretty sure, and I think Joey Logano was on 4 tires. So that is why he was able to take the lead from him, and Blaney was as well. And then, he lost the air off of Blaney, and unfortunately, hard crash for Michael McDowell. Fortunately, not as bad as his Texas one from his qualifying in 2008. One of the worst wrecks I've ever seen. Well, one of the most interesting for sure, but unfortunately DNF'd out of that. It was a good day for him, though. Almost got that win. That would have been crazy to see. But, Joey Logano ended up winning the race in overtime, really pulled away off of the restart and just smooth sailing from there. Joey Logano was able to get that win, so good job for Joey Logano. I know a lot of people are going to clown on this. It was a Mickey Mouse win and he has no talent or skill. He started 27th or something, and he got out up front legitimately. So I think he won this race fair and square, even though he, again, I'm kind of going to contradict myself here, but he wasn't the best car today for sure. I think Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick at points, they were probably the faster cars of the day, especially you kind of saw that in stage 2 with them. They were definitely looking really good, but Joey Logano ends up, getting there. So he ends up getting that win, and, just good stuff for Joey Logano. Very good stuff for him. Gets the win, and, that top 10, the top 5, the droughts are over for him. He gets the win, and, yeah, just good stuff for him. Not really much else to say. It was a crazy Texas race, like I said. I kind of want to keep this video short today, so I'm just going to get right into the standings. So, yeah, like I said, Joey Logano got that win, and I think I'm going to talk a lot more about the drivers when I get to them, because there's a lot of crazy finishes today, and, I think it's better to talk about the drivers listing them. So, yeah, Joey Logano gets that win. Good job for Joey Logano. First win. 2 Penske wins in a row. Austin Cindric won last week. He also got a stage win in this race, like I said, and was having a good day, but unfortunately things didn't go his way with strategy and then got caught up in wrecks. That was a problem for a lot of people, playing the strategy wrong and then getting caught up in wrecks or, spinning out on their own, stuff like that. So it was still, though, a very entertaining race. Ross Chastain, I saw this from someone on Twitter, but Ross Chastain is a great restarter. Off of all those caution restarts, he was just doing really good off of those restarts. Really good stuff for him. And yeah, he ends up getting that second place. He was in third behind Ryan Blaney. He just went right by Ryan Blaney on the restart. Wasn't able to catch up to Joey Logano, though. Still, though, second place, really good. Ryan Blaney, third place, like I said. And, all things considered, a good day for Ryan Blaney, especially because, he's been pretty accident prone and, just unlucky prone to, a lot of things that have happened to him. So third place is good, but you could tell on the interview, he was definitely disappointed with that. He felt like he should have got that win, and I don't blame him. Blaney had a good car today. You could see it when he was racing against Kyle Larson when he was leading laps and got that stage win. He was definitely really good. Definitely could have got that win, just wasn't in the cards based off all those restarts. If, Blaney is a really good long run speed car. So, if maybe they had a long run, there wasn't cautions towards the end, maybe he could have got that win. But still, third place, not bad, and he's still doing really good in the standings, as well as his other teammates. All 3 Penske cars should make the playoffs this year. If Ryan Blaney didn't make the playoffs this year, I would be utterly shocked. So I think he'll be good. Things will be all right. Kyle Larson gets a 4th place finish. Again, like I said, one of those other cars that was in contention that should have possibly been one of the winners. But, once all those cautions started coming out, it was, pretty pretty hard for anyone to keep the lead and win. Kyle Larson, to his credit, was in the lead for a lot of the race, even with the cautions. But then on some of the last restarts, there was a restart I remember that it just slipped away from him. He got up the track and lost a couple spots, and that's why he finished fourth. If he didn't have that slip up, maybe he would have finished first or second. But he had that slip up, so he finishes fourth. That was an issue for a lot of drivers today, getting up in the track, and that's why a lot of people wrecked, was because they were getting too high up on the track, and the higher grooves just weren't it. They were getting way too loose up there, and that's one of the issues of this track is like once you get up there, you're way too loose, and the car's just going to spin on you, and you'll have no control. So I definitely think Texas, the people in charge of that track, should definitely fix that. I think I've never seen that really happen at any other track when you get high up like that, where you just spin out. That it's only happened at Texas, I feel like, consistently. So I think they should fix that. But still, Kyle Larson, like I said, still fourth place finish, not too bad, but he definitely could have gotten that win. And then we get a lot of interesting people to round out the top 10. How about Erik Jones with the top 5? And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first top 5 since like a 2023 Kansas race, excluding super speedways. This is his first top 5 on a non-super speedway or drafting track since 2023 Kansas race. I don't know if that was the spring or the playoff one, but still, just amazing stuff for Erik Jones there. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. sneaks into the top 10, a 6th place finish for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He avoided that spin from Kyle Busch just barely, and it pays off, gets a top 10 finish. Good stuff for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm pretty sure he has a playoff spot right now, or he's like plus to the good. I don't know. I'd have to look at that, but I'm pretty sure he is in the top 16 for driver standings right now. So good stuff for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He wasn't as good last year when it came to, regular season races. He got that win at Talladega in the playoff race, but he wasn't really all that close to getting in the playoffs. But so far this year, he is in the top 16 for driver standings. And, he probably did benefit from a lot of people that were in there wrecking, which I'll get to. But still, that's definitely commendable for him so far this year. And Austin Dillon gets a 7th place finish. I mean, good stuff for Austin Dillon. I mean, again, a lot of interesting names in the top 10, and Austin Dillon is definitely one of them. Just good stuff. A lot of these people are high up because they managed to stay out of wrecks, didn't get too, crazy with anything, and they were just able to have a clean day for the most part. Honestly, except for some people, like the best of the best drivers, they had some issues, but they were still able to race their way up front. But some of these cars just really had clean days. John Hunter Nemechek, who gets an 8th place included. So Austin Dillon 7th and John Hunter Nemechek with an 8th place finish. And strategy played out well for these guys too. So, I mean, good for them. Yeah, just really good stuff. I did see post-race that John Hunter Nemechek did have some sort of an altercation with Christopher Bell, who finished behind him in 9th. I'm assuming it was on the final restart that it happened. I didn't see what really happened. I just saw that John Hunter Nemechek was able to pass him on the restart, and maybe he did a bad move. I didn't see it, though, but it was definitely enough to make Christopher Bell go up to him, which you rarely see from Christopher Bell. He never really goes up and confronts people for stuff, and he went up and confronted John Hunter Nemechek, so that was definitely interesting to see. But still, 8th place finisher for John Hunter Nemechek, that is good. And Christopher Bell with a 9th place finish, actually really good considering that he was not racing all that well today. I remember he was like racing in like the 28th, 29th place. I don't know if there was something wrong with his car or what, but he was not having a good race today. But he bounced back, he got a 9th place finish, and that's really all that matters. So, I mean, good for him. This could have been a terrible day for Christopher Bell if he was continuing to race how he raced in stage 1 and 2. So he was able to bounce back. Whether you want to, call that luck because of all the cautions, like you would say for Joey Logano, I don't know. But, hey, still able to get it done. And then Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10 with a 10th place finish. good stuff for Daniel Suarez. He kind of figured it out earlier than some of these other drivers and was just able to stay consistent all the way through stage 3 and get a top 10 finish. So good for him. And then you got even other people like Todd Gilliland, who was playing an interesting strategy earlier in the race. I remember he took no tires at one point. He was like, he started in like the late 20s, and when he did that strategy, he went to first and then, obviously fell back, but he still had good position. And then I guess he was just able to ride that all the way for an 11th place finish. So good for him. Ty Dillon, decent race for him. A top 15 is definitely good for Ty Dillon, and a 12th place finish, definitely really good for him. Someone I would say that didn't benefit from all of this was William Byron. William Byron was, oh my gosh, I am tripping on my words. You can tell I'm tired, but William Byron was leading a lot in this race. He was up front a lot in this race, especially in stage 1 and 2, but I think the stage 3 shenanigans really, hurt him. And still, 13th place isn't bad, but he was running top 5 most of the day. He should have definitely got at least a top 10 finish, but I guess he just got tripped up and all that. 13th place finish isn't terrible, but you expect better from William Byron on a track like this, especially when his teammate finished 4th. And Riley Herbst, 14th place finish, not bad for him. Justin Haley, 15th place finish. And Chase Elliott, 16th place finish. He was one of those drivers where he went high up into the track and lost grip, and a lot of drivers were able to pass him on the inside. He got tripped up on the outside lane and ends up with a 16th place finish. Again, you would expect better from him, but, this race was kind of weird. So I almost excuse a lot of the experienced drivers for this happening to them. And then you got Zane Smith, 17th, Chris Buescher, 18th. He had a flat tire in one of them. He hit the wall hard, actually, and lost a flat tire, but he was able to keep going and got an 18th place finish, so good for him. Cole Custer, 19th. Kyle Busch was involved in a wreck, but he was able to keep it going and got a 20th place finish. Tyler Reddick finishes 21st. I can't remember if he was in a wreck or not. I don't remember if he was, but I do think he did have an issue, so that's why he finished 21st. Shane Van Gisbergen, 22nd. Ty Gibbs, 23rd. It looked like Ty Gibbs was going to have a good race today. I also don't remember if he was in a wreck or not, but ends up 23rd, but he definitely, I think, should have had a top 10. He was running top 10 a lot of the day, kind of the same to William Byron. It looked like he had a good car, but finished 23rd. Unfortunate. Carson Hocevar finished 24th, and he was the pole leader. He was the fastest in practice and qualifying. I think when we were like 17 or 18 laps in, he had the fastest lap time every single lap, and it just kind of went away, all that strategy and stuff. I think it was too much. And, he also was involved in that caution. Just unfortunate stuff for Carson Hocevar. He was looking promising earlier in the race, but I think all the stuff that happened later kind of just confused him and his crew. So unfortunate stuff there. But, it was a good effort. Austin Cindric, 25th. He was involved in wrecks. Michael McDowell did not finish, the first person to not finish. He wrecked in lap 3 once Joey Logano passed him for the lead and Ryan Blaney got in front of him. He's so close, man. Just so close. Again, Michael McDowell is like a top 5 favorite driver for me, so that was kind of hard to see. And then the person who finished right under him, Chase Briscoe, 27th place finish, wrecked early, but he was able to still keep it going. And, instead of finishing like 37th or 38th, he ends up finishing 27th. So, hey, this day could have been worse. He ends up getting 10 points. So I don't know if he's still in the cut line right now, but I don't think this race would have hurt him too bad, especially because so many people that are actually, were in the playoff spots like Ryan Preece and AJ Allmendinger and even Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace, they all finished under him. So it couldn't have hurt him too bad. So sad to see, but hopefully we can bounce back at Kansas next week. That would be good to see. Brad Keselowski, 28th. I mean, just horrible stuff for Brad. Like, I don't know what's got to change, but I mean, this is rough to see for Brad Keselowski. Just, terrible start to the year so far, and it's only continued. uh, just, yeah, really hard to see. I don't know what he's got to do to have a good race. I really don't. Just sad to see. And his teammate Ryan Preece finishes right under him. He was having a good race at times as well, had some decent amount of time in the top 10, had 15 points, stage points. So that was good for him, but, did not finish the race in 29th. So unfortunate. Cody Ware with a 30th. Jesse Love in one of his first starts gets a 31st. He had a solo caution on his own, spun himself. So unfortunate for him. Josh Berry actually was one of the earliest people to crash. I think it happened in stage 1 or early stage 2 when he was leading laps. But after 200 laps passed, he was actually able to get his car back on track and finish the race in 32nd, granted, but still, I mean, at least he finished the race. So that's good for him. And then Bubba Wallace Jr., who was having a decent race, ends up DNFing. Unfortunate. Noah Gragson was the first spin. I'm pretty sure, Noah Gragson was the first caution on a spin and then was involved in another wreck, did not finish. Alex Bowman also did not finish because of the wreck. AJ Allmendinger, same thing. Those two, Alex Bowman and AJ Allmendinger, collided, which is probably what gets them their 35th and 36th place finish. Chad Fincham also was involved in that same wreck as well, and then Denny Hamlin had the blown engine and was the first person to DNF because Josh Berry was actually able to get back on track. Actually, I don't remember. I don't remember the order of all the cautions because there were so many. I think there was probably more than 10, and that's actually crazily enough expected for Texas. So I do think Texas needs to make some changes to their track to keep all this stuff from happening. I don't think there should be so many cautions where people are spinning out on their own and stuff like that just because they get into a different groove. That shouldn't happen on a track. A track should be fully functional, and you shouldn't be spinning out on your own every time or losing a ton of 10 spots if you go to a certain part of the track. I just don't think that should happen. But I still thought, again, this was a good race. The passing, again, like I said, was really good at points. And, the crazy finish, especially the stuff that happened towards the end. I think this was a good race, all things considered. I would give this an 8.2 out of 10, so better than last week and better than the previous 3 weeks. So, hey, we're on an uphill right now, and we got Kansas. So hopefully Kansas will continue the path of good. And, if this week's Kansas or if next week's Kansas is anything like the Kansas race last year, we're in for a good treat. So hopefully that can happen. But yeah, anyways, like I said, this was a good race. I can't wait to be at Texas. And congrats to Joey Logano for that win and putting himself in the playoffs. And yeah, with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one.